Well, Chris, I do have to disagree with Bert on his point about the application process. It may be that it allows things to be orderly, but if you think about it, it's centralized control. That's what it is. It's not about order at all. If it was about order, we could just go and let local law enforcement know that we would be at the precinct.
And Danielle, it's exactly right. And it conditions the exercise of fundamental constitutional freedom on some action that a citizen has to take.
That's right.
And there is no constitutional requirement that the citizen satisfy any government-imposed requirement in order to exercise core constitutional rights. That's the point. They shouldn't have to tell anybody anything about when or whether or how or where they go do an exit poll. It's free speech, it's free assembly, and it's just inappropriate. And I agree with you 100%. I might not have even thought about that, Danielle, until you brought it up. And a number of times you've brought that issue up before when I would say, you know what? They used to just have to go and fill out a form and say, I'll be doing an exit poll, and that's all there was to it. And you were saying, why do they even have to do that?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing to me, Chris, as the vaccine exemption forms. No, you don't get to exempt me. I exempt my damn self, and you can get out of my business.
So basically what you're embracing here, Danielle, is the presumption in favor of liberty, which is consistent with the letter and the spirit of the law. We don't presume against liberty. And by imposing these requirements, you're presuming against liberty. And it is obnoxious in principle. And it's, it kind of alludes to what you told me quite a while back. I think we had done only a very few shows, and we were talking about the Second Amendment. And, you quoted, what part of thou shalt not infringe do you not understand? And we were talking again about, whether or not the government can legally require a law-abiding citizen to get the government's permission through a permit to carry a handgun, and
you see this? Yeah. Do not tread on me. That signs back up.
I love it, dude. I always know you're in a fiery mood whenever that's up in the background.
Chris, you know what else struck me during the conversation today? When Jeff was talking about the machines and the fact that our elected officials, so many of our elected officials, but particularly the Secretary of State, because she's the one out front talking about this, believes that the machines are the way forward because it's too inconvenient to count them by hand, and that is too arcane. To those people, I would ask, how much of your china do you put in the dishwasher? Do you put your china in the dishwasher because it's inconvenient to hand wash your expensive china that you only bring out for Thanksgiving and Christmas and other special occasions? No. If it's something you care about, you do it the right way.
That's exactly right, Danielle. You're the only one probably of sufficient brilliance that could use the word China in connection with our election system. And I could also use the word China in connection with our election system because China controls, in many respects, our election system. But I think it's an interesting choice of words, but you're exactly right. So you would never sacrifice efficiency or sacrifice protecting your china, your silverware, at the altar of efficiency just because you can do it more quickly in a dishwasher, because guess what? It ruins it. Yet we have election officials across the state who seem willing to sacrifice real election security at the altar of efficiency through these voting computers. So it's a very good analogy. There are certain things that while they may require, and I don't know, Danielle, that it's going to require necessarily that much more effort. I don't know that it's going to necessarily be that much more cumbersome. I've seen,
I'll tell you one thing, it'll cost a heck of a lot less money, which means a lot fewer cronies getting their checks from different contracts. I think that has to be a big driver for this, Chris, and nobody can convince me otherwise.
And here you touch on the heart of the resistance. The heart of the resistance always goes back to who is getting paid to do what. Our government should be looking for ways to reduce spending, to increase transparency. Unfortunately, that's too often not the case. But I'm thrilled to death, Danielle, that these issues are being raised and being brought up because they're just so vital to liberty. They're not optional. This is
No,
not optional.
it's not optional. I'm so grateful for Bert, for his courage, for his willingness to stand up and fight. He just has the tenacity to get it done. And he is such a faithful warrior at the legislature. He's a faithful warrior. He's standing in the gap as an election commissioner, somebody who really believes in the sanctity of the vote, going and running for an office. Imagine that. And then here he is going to protect our rights through lawsuits that are making our voices heard in venues that they have not been heard. And so I just big shout out to Bert. I just really appreciate him so much. And Jeff, like you said, he is also a warrior in a different way and has done so well for people whose rights have been violated by our government. And so it's time, Chris, that we the people are standing up, and I am grateful that our voices are getting heard in those halls. And I don't think that the elected officials really expected us to stand up and stay standing and to speak up and keep speaking. And I think they're probably pretty darn annoyed with us by now, and that is the exact point. So keep speaking, keep showing up, keep letting your voice be heard, because they need to know that we're not going away and that we are watching every single move they make, because they are supposed to be responsible to us. They're supposed to be representing us. They're supposed to be acting at our behest. They are not supposed to be doing what they want so that they can get paid.
And then too often lying about it.
Right.
To their constituents. So that is coming to an end, thank God, because of a lot of hard work. But we are not, you're exactly right, Danielle, we're not going away. Increasing numbers of citizens are thoroughly skeptical of just about every facet of our government. It never ceases to amaze me how there's even 10 or 15 or 20 or 25, 30% of the population at this point that is not just reflexively skeptical of everything that our government says and does.
Yeah.
I don't understand what it's going to take until that number gets to 90 or 100%. And the only real explanation, Danielle, is that there is a sectus of society, including quite a few public officials, who have simply determined that their own personal enrichment and their own personal aggrandizement trumps their core responsibility to protect the citizens and our constitutional rights and transparency in government. That's the only explanation, because there's no possible way that they cannot know what is going on. There's no way. For instance, there's no way that Jeff Landry could possibly not know that SB 80, that peripherally restricts citizens from exercising their free speech at polling precincts, is not unconstitutional. There's no way he cannot know that. There's no way the Secretary of State cannot know that we're the only
attorneys, right?
Both of whom are attorneys. Well, I believe, yeah, I know she is. There's no way that they cannot know that Louisiana is the only state in the country that makes a presumptive distinction between bona fide news organizations and ordinary citizens when it comes to the exercise of constitutionally protected rights. There's no way they cannot know that. So there has to be another motive for this.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to say it's probably not a sincere one.
Well, it's power. It's power and control.
Power and control. But we're the sovereigns, Danielle, as you often say. We are the sovereigns, and we're going to continue to act as such and continue to demand that we are governed as such.
Yep.
And it's such a pleasure and privilege to have Bert supporting LaCag and also, a friend of the State of Freedom. And we're just excited about everything that's coming, everything we've already done. And I want to encourage people to donate to the State of Freedom, subscribe to the State of Freedom, and take a look at our ad package for the State of Freedom, because we are really excited about promoting you, your business, your nonprofit, as long as we believe in it. We have to believe in it to do it. But if we believe in it, we can do a very good job of promoting it and getting you on the maps. The State of Freedom is your family. If you are for limited government, you want to promote your business, your nonprofit, and you believe in liberty and the Constitution. We're your family. We're your resource.
Yeah. And Chris, I also want to take the opportunity to remind people, or if you didn't catch the last couple of episodes, we will be launching very soon an exclusive members only community for the State of Freedom. And we will have some exclusive interviews there and some exclusive discussions that are interactive with me and Chris, with guests, and a whole lot more. So stay tuned for that. But if you are interested in that at all and you want us to contact you about it as soon as it hits the presses, go to the State of Freedom and hit that button, sign up for exclusive updates, and we will get you on the list to be the first to know about it.